I'm nervous. Don't be... You want to be together, right? Of course I do. It's just my... You know how Father is traditional. You mean he doesn't approve of... No, it's not who you are. It's ceremony, tradition. He insists on the proper motions. He always says, duty before self, due diligence to the public, and all that. So you want to wait, then? No. We've waited long enough. It's just, I've always known, was always taught structure, stability, regulation, tradition, ceremony. It's what my whole family knows best. But you've changed that for me. This could crumble them. And if they crumble, everything else will follow. Yes, but you and I agreed. It's not your responsibility. You don't want it, right? Right. Then we do this for love. Conquers all. That's right.
Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
Well, hello there, creatures, and welcome to another episode of Encounter This. Today is episode 80, featuring the Deep Scion. And taking us all the way to the deep is my co-host, Freeman Screechy Eiston, and hopefully saving us from drowning is me, James. Probably should have read that nickname before I went with this analogy. Ultimatum Kid. And you can follow along with this Deep Scion and forget that analogy.
Oh my god!
With Vol's Guide to Monsters on page 134.
Oh my god! Do you know anything about these creatures at all?
I know literally nothing about these creatures.
You have no idea how apt that analogy was. Plus the fuck up.
Oh,
it's
it?
just perfect. It's so good.
I know they kind of look like the Reavers from Blade 2, and that's about it.
Oh my god, that was gold. Yes, Deep Science. You said the book, yeah? Okay, sorry, I was caught up in the moment.
No, it's all good. It's all good. We're there. You are ready to take us away.
Firstly, this is our second ever 5e only creature. The first being...
There were a lot of numbers in that sentence.
Yes. I did it on purpose. The first we ever did was Empyreans, which you covered. I actually had to double check because I was like, is this the first one ever? And I went through our list and Empyreans was the first one, which I think was around this time last year-ish.
Oh, fuck, who remembers?
Yeah. Yes, Deep Science. They're kind of neat. They're kind of neat. I think they have the makings of an adventure hook. And I hope you agree as we get through this. So start with this. Every Deep Scion was once an everyday person. Whether they were kidnapped or shipwrecked at sea, they found they were given a choice by a powerful undersea entity: surrender body and soul, or drown.
Okay.
So now you can see how apt your analogy was.
Yeah.
All Deep Scions are the result of choosing surrender in this ultimatum, and have undergone an ancient ritual that is widespread among evil aquatic creatures. It is painful and not even guaranteed to work. But when it does, The air breather that once was is made into a shape changer that is at home in the water. The Deep Scion is born, and it serves its new evil master. Its former physical form and appearance is now its mask. And they now wholly serve the master's purposes and designs. They may return to their original home, sometimes even to a hero's welcome, once convinced to have died at sea, essentially. And they may serve by taking on a new identity elsewhere as well, not just returning home. But regardless, its duty is to infiltrate an air-breathing world and report to its water-bound master. And while fulfilling this duty often means getting close to their selected enemy, they can become a best friend or a lover, an all-too-perfect candidate for political counsel, or a convenient hire for a trade. Whatever it takes to get close and carry out the master's plans.
This is some deep state Russian communist spy shit we got going on here.
Right?
I think this is the plot of The Americans.
I mean, you're not wrong. So what I love about this in the lore here is the next part is that the Deep Scion is magically trained, and to remove empathy toward anyone that they spy on. And I like to imagine that also in some regard they get magically trained in like these things that they might take on. Because they're not necessarily going home. If they go home, maybe they just be their old selves again. But I like if they go to a new place, they're part of that training to remove the empathy is also training them in a new trade to make them that convenient hire. Train them in politics. So you're thinking
they just like Matrix in the ability to wheelwright?
Basically, yeah. And I think it's all part of the ritual and probably why the ritual is so complicated. And why it doesn't work all the time. It probably rarely works, but when it does, it's this whole transformation, something extraordinary. I know they can still fake and mimic enjoyment with a friend or infatuation with a lover, of course, and that's why I feel like it's all kind of built together. And no matter what, though, it's always artificial and a means to an end. So the Deep Scion now believes its true form and person is the shape that returns to the sea. And though with some irony, if killed in its waterborne or Piscine form, as it's called, it does revert to the body of the person it once was, as the magic that removed its emotions is stripped away upon death. So it's like this lingering sort of thing.
This is some sort of Guillermo del Toro Shape of Water Red Sparrow hybrid.
I'll take it.
Red Sparrow 2, starring Jennifer Lawrence, directed by Guillermo del Toro.
I have not seen either of those. Although I heard Shape of Water was awesome.
They're both really good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Red Sparrow isn't particularly good, but, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence. Sure, why not? I'll take it.
Shape of Water's really good.
Yeah, I heard really good. Quite good, yeah. I'll tag that on the old list. I tend to watch movies in big bursts. I'll just, spend a few days watching, 5 or 6 or 10 movies, and then I won't watch them for a long time.
Gotcha. You don't just pick 3 that you're going to watch that week like I do?
Nope. No, I do them in big bursts. It's really weird. It's like having a random craving for chocolate. I could go the rest of my life without chocolate, but once in a blue moon, I'll just be like, yeah, I'll grab that Mr. Big over there.
I know.
But that's it. That's all for the lore. It's a lot. I love you said it's the deep state Russian spy shit, because you're not wrong. But maybe you see now, it's almost like a tease. You could probably see now why I think this is it's an adventure hook in the making, these creatures.
Yeah, I was going to say, this isn't creature lore so much as it is a plot thread.
Mm-hmm. Right?
Not really most of this isn't creature lore at all.
Yeah.
Most of this is just here's Pathfinder's Council of Thieves, but underwater.
Yeah. I think it's worth noting that, from what I recall, and based on my own notes here, the evil aquatic creatures that do this, it's specifically vague about who they are, probably for the purposes of keeping them, varied, like, meaning like it's not just these ones, it's any of these big powerful ones that we might come up with in the future, which I think is good future proofing in a way.
Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, and so it's pretty neat. It's like this is like your, instead of everyone meeting in the local tavern and a cultist shows up, it could be like, there's a union dispute in town, and one of the union reps is doing this thing, and it turns out he's manipulating everything, and he turns out to be this Deep Scion, and like, whoa, what's going on here? When you're all in the fishing town or something like that. Like, it adds this extra, political intrigue element. I think this whole creature, that's better to
and I like
with.
that it's not like specific to like Umberlee or something. Like this could be, a servant of Shar or I don't know, anybody, Mask, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. I like that it's not specific, like you said. It's very, very general.
Yeah. So that's it for the lore. We should talk about the appearance, though. You said they look like what was it? The Reavers from Blade?
From Blade 2.
I didn't think of that, but I vaguely recall what you're talking about. And now that I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I think
anything with a bifurcated mouth immediately makes me think of the Blade 2 Reavers.
Honestly, it's because it's like it's bifurcated, sort of. It is, and it's weird. It does remind me of Predator, but it doesn't really look like Predator. It's like somewhere, in the vicinity. But oh my god, you just sent me a picture, and yep, that's exactly what it is. It's just like Blade 2.
And I've been speaking my entire life. They're called Reapers, apparently.
Oh, okay, Reapers. P as in Peter. Still, though, pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
On top of the bifurcated
as far as
mouth and everything, they basically, like, their skin is like this silvery gray. Certainly gives a bit of a look of not really scaly so much, but more of like a almost porpoise blubber kind of sheen, I would say. But
it's very fish-like.
Yeah.
It's got fins like even the spots are reminiscent of like a flounder, a pollock. Like that's very common underwater camouflage.
The fins coming off their forearms and off their head are like tentacles they're very much like a squid. And and they look terrifying, fucking evil red eyes, but they're just wearing like normal old clothes. They look tough. They look like they're gonna fuck you up and possibly eat your face.
They don't look great. And that's definitely like the shape of a shark's jaw too. Like that's that's not a human jaw. Yeah.
So it's like the jaw opens
top
up
one
in very
isn't
shark-like, but then the sides open up in their own weird way.
Without
teeth.
So like a shark's, well, there is a couple of teeth on there if you look real close.
Yeah.
They're on the top row. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay, I see them. Yep.
But a shark's jaw like unhinges. So that's probably what that bifurcation is allowing it to do, is to unhinge its jaw and fit more shit in there.
Wicked. And you know what we need?
Very similar to a snake, but a snake has
is more shit in mouths.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that didn't sound right at all. You know what I meant?
Nope. No, I didn't.
It's okay. Someone out there will get it, or just laugh at a poop joke.
Yeah.
It was accidental. So given that these are 5e only and very obviously proprietary, there is no cultural lore. I did a little bit of digging, but I didn't want to get into, things that ended up being related to mermaids or some such, because I'm sure that's its own episode. I think we both agree that we prefer to keep these proprietary ones like a little more individual.
Yeah, mermaids definitely will be.
That brings us to the old mechanics.
There we go.
Nothing I like drinking better when I'm deep in the sea than a black male stout. Because it's waterproof. That's one of its one of its secret features for the blackmail stout. Northwest South. It's waterproof. When you open it underwater, no problems. Just like the old opening a healing potion underwater argument.
Yeah, okay. I would have went with something like these creatures were born in the darkness, so I'm sure they are quite used to it, and I've probably consumed their fair share of it.
No, I'm not sure why you have to be such a show off all the time, but whatever.
Oh, that wasn't good either. Don't.
Yeah, but it was way better than what I said. At least segue wise.
Oh, yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know, man. It all depends on what you like. Write in and tell us, listeners, whose segues are better. Well, lines are open.
Yeah. All right. So, speaking of something we talked about in our last episode, like you talked about enjoying running low level, sort of, you like GMing the start at level 1 in those sorts of scenarios, and I agree in a way, and because I love the idea of just like starting raw and then working your way up, and like that first chapter is very formative in your story, right, for the players.
Yeah.
And so I feel like these creatures are going to be like a big bad for chapter 1. And I hope it's true. We're looking at a CR3. So
okay. I mean, that's way higher than I expected because these are essentially just water people.
Right.
So I expected like a CR1.
There's an element of rarity to them, which I like. So I feel like it justifies a slightly higher CR. And that subterfuge and everything that they go through and work towards. I really love the idea of, it turns out someone in town is doing something sketchy, and then it turns out that someone is a creature like this, and then all of a sudden it turns out a creature like this is just the stepping stone towards something much bigger. So CR3, HP 67, normal run speed of 30 feet, being more or less a humanoid. And they do have a hybrid form, which we'll talk about in a bit, that has a 20-foot land speed and a 40-foot swim speed. So they reduced their land speed.
That's probably what's pictured, I'd imagine.
Yes, very much so. Yeah. Their hybrid form, air quotes, is their real form, or some such. Actually, we'll see when we get hit. I can't remember the details off the top of my head, but I think you're right. They only have an AC of 11, which is very low. But that
is very low. But you could
that's quickly fixed with armor.
Essentially commoners. Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Yeah, very quickly fixed with
armor. You don't want to be wearing armor while you're swimming. That's
true enough.
That's a recipe for disaster.
True enough. But maybe that's where the hybrid form comes in. Because that's why a swim speed sort of negates the problems with that. Well, unless you're at James' table, I'm sure.
Yeah, swim speed doesn't mean shit other than the fact you don't have to roll a check on my table.
Yeah. I mean, leather armor wouldn't be so bad. Full plate, different story.
You ever swam in clothes before, bud?
I don't have a swim speed, so no.
Gotcha. Part of lifeguard training is they put you, like they weight you down and then throw you into the deep end in your full your full clothing, and man, jeans get heavy.
Ugh.
So I can only imagine leather is also a porous material on the side that's not cured because you never cure both sides of the leather.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So it's just going to it's all going to suck. All clothing sucks. Yeah.
All right. You're selling it to me. But hey, we're playing a fantasy game. All right. Size, medium. They're humanoids. They're the average humanoid. Although I don't see why, this ritual, as it were, couldn't be applied to a smaller creature, such as or
a larger creature, Andre the Giant looking motherfucker.
Yeah. Be awesome. According to my notes, they are a humanoid. So I forgot to put the M in there. Humanoid shape changer in parentheses. Which matters for, we've discussed this not too long ago as well, for things like polymorph. So they would be immune to a spell like polymorph.
Yep. Any spell that affects its shape, they are either immune to or have a special save for.
Right.
So be it polymorph, or I think even reduce and enlarge as well.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I'm prepared to be corrected on that. Yeah.
Their alignment is neutral evil, which I kind of get. I mean, they're evil because I think they don't have much choice. They are basically created by an evil ritual by evil masters and are bound to follow them. Neutral gives a little bit more leeway. I would almost say lawful evil because they are bound to their duty, but it's debatable. Languages are Aquan, Common, and Thieves' Cant, which I thought was a slightly odd choice, but I guess it makes sense when you're getting in there being all sneaky and secretive.
Also, one of the things you should consider is that Thieves' Cant is the only recognized form of sign language in 5th edition.
Yes.
And the only way to communicate underwater other than Aquan would be to sign.
Yeah, 100%. Good call. Very good call. They have no resistances or immunities to speak of. Dark vision of 120 feet, so it's a good range. Get a little boost to their wisdom and charisma saves. And they have a boost to skills such as deception, insight, sleight of hand, and stealth. All line up with the lore.
Sorry, I just need to quickly apologize to listeners. I don't think Thieves' Cant is solely a sign language. It is at my table. I think in 5e parlance is technically a hybrid language that combines both verbal cues and physical cues.
I think you're right.
I'm prepared to be corrected on that.
I feel like it wasn't all that long ago we had a discussion about this, or at least I did with somebody, and I definitely watched a video of someone talk about Thieves' Cant and how diverse it can be. Because some people even interpret it as...
Oh, yeah. Monarch Factory does a great job at it.
Okay.
It's Monarch Factory's a video. We'll link that for sure.
Yeah, sick, awesome, yeah, because I've heard things like the hobo language kind of thing where you have different markings somewhere. That's part of Thieves' Cant and understanding what those markings might mean for that town or what have you. So yeah, there's a cool diversity that you can add to it. I mean, still, what you said there stands to reason.
Yeah. I mean, it really all depends on how you play it. And at my table, it is a sign language. So
they
stop it.
They're strength-based creatures in the end, strength and con. So they're pretty hardy. They don't look big, but they certainly look durable. So 18 to strength, 16 to con. Everything else is pretty low at that point. You got a 13 dex, you get a +1. That's where that AC is coming from. That 11's 10 plus the dex essentially.
Right.
And then everything else is pretty low. I think the probably the key one. It's pretty key that most of their skill bonuses are what they are. Deception itself getting a +6, so that's basically a double proficiency happening in that one.
Is deception charisma?
It is, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it all looks good to me. Strength to swim, con to withstand the pressure of the deep, like charisma to help manipulate your targets.
Yep.
I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It looks good.
Yeah. Getting into abilities, Shapechanger. Standard action to transform between its Piscine hybrid form and its true form. All stats remain the same except for movement speeds. Equipment does not change and reverts to the original true form upon death. So if you're putting that armor on, the armor is still going to be there when you transform. I do love the wording here because I did say earlier that it is a little bit ironic that when they die, they revert to their original form. And the specific wording in Shapechanger is the Piscine hybrid form or its true form. But after the ritual, they consider their Piscine hybrid form to be their true form. So it just really lays in the fact that it's not. It's a cover, and even they don't realize it. It makes me wish, which it's not here, is that this was a curse that could be lifted. But there's nothing. I'll tell you right now, there's nothing about that.
Okay, so just to clarify, their true form is in fact their original human form.
It seems to imply that, yes, the lore and the mechanics.
But they believe that their true form is the hybrid.
Yeah,
form.
I think, and that's part of the quote unquote training that the magic does to remove their empathy and give them the ability to fake emetic enjoyment. I think it's really just a brain fog cloud. that, and in addition to the physical transformation that the magic causes. Because once they die,
the usual gaslighting from an elder god.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. They are amphibious, which is in hybrid form only, and can breathe.
I don't care for that.
You don't care for that. Like you think in their human looking form or their old form, their true form, they should still be able to breathe air and water.
Yeah, so I have so with shape changers, the subtype shape changers specifically, I have an issue with their organs changing use, function, and location.
Okay.
Because it's not allowed to change. Realistically, it's not allowed to change into a being that is a different size. And very rarely do you get beings that change to different like species or kingdoms. So like even a therianthrope is still a mammal, right? Like it's even a were-rat is still a human and a rat. The lungs have the same purpose. So for something like this, if it's amphibious, I just think it should just straight up be amphibious. I don't think there's a whole lot of reason to limit that to its Piscean form.
Yeah, it's a good call because if with say a lycanthrope or werewolf, you have a mammal that has been cursed with a thing that turns into another mammal. So maybe there's an argument to say that makes a little more sense. In that very little changes other than the musculature and the skeletal structure or some such. Whereas
or maybe that's what makes it a curse versus this that's not a curse.
Yeah, maybe that's good call.
Yeah. Okay, all right, interesting.
Yeah. But I see
it's an interesting thought experiment.
I don't really see why some hidden gills behind the ears couldn't exist. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
I love the movie Waterworld.
I guess yeah.
I shouldn't, but I do.
That is the first time that's ever been said on mic in the history of time, listeners. So revel in that one.
I do have a soft spot for it. It's terrible.
I've never seen it in its entirety.
Oh, it's brutal.
Like, I've only there's like 3 movies that I've never seen the end of, and that's one of them.
I've seen it too many times. Anyway, attacks. Here's a little more controversy, I guess. In its humanoid form, it gets 2 melee attacks, but in the hybrid form, it gets 3 attacks. So I'm not sure why it's gotten faster with its swinging, but the attacks are, it assumes if it's going to have a weapon, it will be a battle axe. So that's a +6 to hit, 1d8 +4 slashing, or it's a versatile weapon as well, so it could be 1d10 +4. And that's like, it seems to be imply that's the humanoid form, like they have a weapon with but if they do go to their hybrid form, they're getting a little fishy. That's they get in there with their bite and claw attacks. So they can do 2 battle axes, or they transform and then they get 1 bite and 2 claws in. So both are still a +6 to hit, bite's a 1d4 +4 piercing, claws a 1d6 +4 slashing. So pretty standard. Most importantly, they have an ability or an attack called Psychic Screech. And it is an audible scream that can be heard up to 300 feet away. And which is like a really good tone setter for your early campaign. And 30-foot range proper. It does a DC 13 whiz save or stunned until the Deep Scion's next turn. If the Scion is in water, the Screech telepathically transmits the last 24 hours of the Deep Scion's memories to its master. Distance is of no consequence so long as they share the same body of water.
That's pretty neat.
So this is how they, the part of the lore was, they're doing their master's bidding, but they are constantly reporting back what information they have.
Yeah.
And this is
I have some issues with that, but that's fine. I mean, it's just like grammatically nitpicking. Like,
yeah.
How could a Screech be telepathic? But because you are specifically defining it as something that makes a waveform, but that's fine.
Screech telepathically transmits. Yeah. Oh, I mean, you know what? I might have jerry rigged this this wording a bit because it doesn't read very well at all. I might have just short formed this, so
Okay.
don't get too nitpicky.
Gotcha. No, and I don't plan to.
Yeah.
My biggest issue with this stat block is that the human form has the 2 melee attacks, and that's not an option in the hybrid form when we previously established that its gear doesn't change. So if it's holding a battle axe, we're just to assume that it drops the battle axe as it goes into hybrid form.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like whatever, fuck wizards about that. Yeah. That's nonsense.
Wizards, you need a QSA continuity fucking expert, dudes. Come on.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like they're paying to write the words in human form when they could just nix those words, and it's like multi-attack 1 has 2 melee attacks. 2 hybrid form only. Like it would cost you less to take that away, and it would be in continuity. So I get that they're trying to make it more thematic and limited, but I'm pretty sure this beast of an ocean-born creature can still use an axe.
Yeah, reasonably sure. It does have, in fact, arms and hands. So I think you're right. That's
more importantly, funny. It has opposable thumbs,
right?
Like if it didn't have opposable thumbs in that, like I would totally get it. Sure. I'd be here for it. I'm actually kind of against the fact that it has opposable thumbs because there's no need for it whatsoever.
Yeah, but
whatever. Homebrew that humanoid form away and keep that battle axe up, because mechanically you're going to do harder hits on less die rolls if you go versatile. So
pretty much, yep. Nope.
And like don't be afraid to mix it up with
you
the
go in a hybrid
claw.
form, that battle axe drops to the ground. Yeah, it's dumb.
Okay, sure.
No,
I mean if that's the way you want to play it, then like it's your creature to play.
It's so funny to see that. That's just so redundant.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is it's been like edited too much, you know. And that's, whatever, it's fine. I wonder if the opposable thumbs are for the thief can't sign language. Because it doesn't have fingers. Yeah. So, I guess it's got 1 finger.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it looks like it's got, if you look at its right hand, it looks like it's got 1 finger and then, like
pad,
the other
right?
3 are like attached together. It's like Penguin from Tim Burton's Batman kind of deal.
Yeah. I think there's another word for that, but I don't remember what it is. I'm going to call it a pad. So it's got like 1 finger, opposable thumb, and a pad.
Yeah.
It's like the mittens you used to get in the late 90s for hardcore snowboarders, so you could still hold your cigarette.
Oh, that's good. But that's it. That's the Deep Scion.
Yeah, I mean, as nitpicky as I've been, I like them. I think they're cool little creatures.
Yep.
I like the potential more than I like the actual stat block.
Yeah, same.
Because I don't think I'd actually run this creature as written. I mean, I might like early levels, but the abilities and the concept and that last psychic screech, that's easy enough to just slap on like any orc stat block and make bigger and badder creatures.
Yeah.
I feel like such a fucking idiot. I'm Googling mittens with fingers right now, and it's just like I know that it's just gloves, but that's not what I'm looking for.
Mittens with fingers.
Yeah. It's just like, there's certain things that just make me feel like a fucking moron, and that's right up there. I'm Googling gloves with all the wrong words. But I found them. They're called guide fingers, apparently.
It's like saying, mittens for my feet. Those are socks, James.
Yeah. You know what's weird is that socks was not my first thought there.
What do you think of when I say a helmet for your toes?
Steel toe boots,
okay,
I guess.
You got it, yeah.
Yeah. But when you say feet mittens, I think slippers.
Oh, okay. Oh, actually, that's a pretty good call.
I'm a big I love my slippers, so I'm a big proponent of slippers.
What about a body mitten?
I can't say that on the air. We're already explicit. We can't get more explicit. No. No, that's not what I think.
Oh, God. Hit us up on Discord. You want to know what James thought in this moment.
Yeah, we're already labeled as explicit. We can't get more explicit than that.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. All right. Well, Deep Scion, pretty good. Do you have? Obviously, I don't think you've used these. Obviously.
No, I haven't, but I want to. I do have a question for you. Is that like I know you've read a lot of Saltmarsh, and are these like a big feature in Saltmarsh?
I don't think they ever came up. Actually,
that sucks.
Yeah. But the Saltmarsh does touch on a good number of aquatic creatures, and those akin to water. But I don't think these ones ever came up. But that being said, I don't think I read too far into the later chapters, so I could be wrong.
Okay.
But in the first few spoilers, yeah, I don't recall them coming up at all.
Okay,
but Saltmarsh is not a grand adventure. They're meant to be like sections in an area that you can do standalone. So it's not like a big culminating
like Candlekeep or Tales of the Yawning
exactly,
Portal.
Yeah. But that being said, these will be, if you want to turn Saltmarsh into a bigger, grander adventure, that Saltmarsh actually does come with lots of cool like hints of what you could do, and specifies parts of that geography that so and so like a hag lives in the forest kind of thing, and you could play with those. But this would be a great creature to absolutely like turn that into your own sort of adventure and story. This would be a great one.
Yeah, and if you wanted to port over Ruins of Aslant, I think these would be a great addition to that.
That was the thing. That was what I was going to bring up, because I feel like this might be Wizards' answer to some of the themes in that adventure path. Which, for the listeners who don't know, it's a Pathfinder First Edition adventure that is centered on. I don't want to really put too much spoiler in, but evil aquatic creatures and their influence. So this is right in that. So we're looking for wheelhouse
and a thematically appropriate idiom.
Yes.
Idiom. Is it an idiom?
I don't think it's an idiom. Is it an idiom?
Is it colloquial?
Colloquial. I mean, what are you referencing? I'm lost now.
Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse is the steering plate.
Right,
steering
you're
port
right
on
in
a
the
ship.
wheelhouse. Oh, in the wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I think that might be an idiom. I don't know.
Colloquial metaphor.
The only idiom I ever remember is definitely an idiom is out of the fire into the frying pan.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Take a knee.
Take a knee. Oh.
Yeah. It's any metaphor that's only really established by a certain cultural boundary.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So like idioms that don't metaphors that don't transcend languages are idioms.
Oh, so something that like if you say it in another language, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. Like it would only have a literal translation.
Right. Yeah. Needs cultural context, which does lend itself to the idea of being a colloquialism to a degree. But colloquialism is like a little more geographical rather than language based.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, for sure.
Anyway, this has been our TED Talk on on writing terms, apparently that we don't have firmly defined.
Yeah, this has been us trying to parcel out what specific words mean in English. While James looks at mittens on Google, I really like this creature. I think they have a great. I think they'd be a great like inciting incident for a larger campaign, and a creature that, or at least a creature type or template is probably a better word that you can just slap on anything as it goes forward. I like the idea of giving them like druid abilities, like maybe some Aquaman type shit where they have like a shark pet or like a dolphin friend. Because dolphins are the assholes of the sea, so like I can see them being attached to like these evil creatures. or maybe like they surf on like a manta ray or some shit like that. Like, but there's such a good like balance of both land-based and aquatic-based, because 5e is not really built out for aquatic anything. At least to a degree. Saltmarsh is probably our best example of that build out. If you don't have a party that can handle being underwater, this is a great way to make them not underwater, and take it and run with it. So make Therian tropes that are like the street sharks. Like one is a killer whale, one is a hammerhead shark, and they're just like half hammerhead shark, half man.
I do love the idea of like speaking of like the sort of intro way of using these creatures as maybe your first big chapter 1 big bad kind of thing. You can certainly tie those into sea hags. You guys listen to our episodes on Haguary. I almost wonder, I just double checked, the Sahawagin are humanoids as well. Though they do have the Sahawagin in parentheses, like subtype. And the lore did say like drown or submit. But I kind of like the idea of like maybe, part of that adventure is you yourselves are infiltrating this Sahawagin, like, sort of culture or something in some way. And maybe there's a very, very loose truce between you and them for a moment. And then you find out they've also been infiltrated by one of these creatures. So like one of their kind had been taken in by one of these evil aquatic ancient beings. And so just kind of play with that. It doesn't just have to be, the air breathing human, I don't think, if you want to like, twist that around.
Yeah, absolutely. Or, maybe they're sent to like infiltrate or recruit like a bullywug encampment or some like lizard folk.
Yeah.
Like there are so many cool amphibious options. We did an entire suite on regular amphibious creatures, or maybe the big bad is this slad that's, is controlling these creatures. Maybe it's this nebulous Cthulian evil slad that's turning these people into Deep Scions with the power of their Chaos Emerald. Wait, cut that. I don't think we can say Chaos Emerald.
With the power of their
Chaos Stone.
Fancy rock thing.
Sorry, Sega. Leave us alone on this one.
I'm sure they're listening.
But there's an entire world of possibilities here, and I like the possibilities that they open up. I like campaigns that center around geographical features, as evidenced by the Frost Maiden. The Knoll campaign that I wrote that never got off the ground was all centered on grasslands, and like how you have different grasslands, like specifically that one scene in Jurassic Park with the Velociraptors, Jurassic Park: The Lost World, where they're just pegging off the people as they're running through the field. Like I really wanted to do that scene, but with gnolls. So there are so many options around geographically centered campaigns. It doesn't have to be this globe-trotting, grandiose adventure. It can be a hyper-localized thing that, you just stretch up and down the coast, and instead of stretching further and further inland or climbing up the proverbial mountain, you're going deeper and deeper into the sea to fight this eldritch evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or plane hopping. We have Planescape confirmed. So maybe the Deep Scions are a planar link to Mind Flayers or something like that. Maybe they're, instead of them being like metaphorical experiments in this occult ritual, they're like actually a science experiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. I mean, especially when we're talking about some limited telepathic abilities, lean into maybe some psionic based alterations to this creature.
Yeah, or maybe what draws the Mind Flayers to these creatures is this latent psionic energy in human beings, and this is how the Mind Flayer gets it out, or some shit like that. Like, there's so many options with a creature like this.
I love the idea of like a druid being taken in by one of these, and it turns its power as a nature based like druidic being to a psionic one. It takes the power.
Yeah,
and
I would even give this I'd even give this as an option to as a player character. So like to a more experienced role player. So like if I was going to do a Deep Scion centric campaign, I would be like, hey Freeman, You want to play a Deep Scion?
I'm secretly working for the Russian state.
Yeah. And then just make sure they die at the end of the first or the second act, or they make it all the way to the end. Like, how fucking crazy would it be is if during the boss fight, one of your companions dies and it turns out, level 10, they were this Deep Scion all along. And you have to go in this whole other fucking campaign to figure out who they were working for and why they were doing what they did.
Wicked. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Yeah. So I think this could be a really cool player secret, like lycanthropy, like just adding that extra level to an experienced role player. I wouldn't like throw this at a first timer, but down the road, if you've been playing for 4 or 5 years and you're ready to handle those abilities and you have a player who's mentally mature enough to separate, I guess, church and state, for lack of a better idiom, this would be a great way for them to like increase their amount of fun. Every now and again they could just be like, I do a proper, once per day they're allowed to do the psychic screech, and when they unleash it, it's up to that player and that character to justify it. So not only does the character have to justify why they have the psionic screech, the player has to be like, oh yeah, that's actually a thing that the Ranger Beastmaster can do. It's a thing that I learned. So like, not only are you role playing in the game, it adds this extra level of meta role playing, to try and convince your other players that you're a real boy. Yeah. So
me and the DM talked, and this is totally legit.
Yeah, it's part of this custom background that I wrote.
Yeah, so sneaky.
Yeah, and I would open that up for sure. It's just neat, and there's a lot of cool things you can do with it if you want to take the time, and if you're inspired by a coastal campaign. And I'm in the headset because I'm starting to look for our next big adventure, and I kind of want to do something coastal. So this fits right in with that. But what about you, listeners? Do you have any stories about the Deep Scion, or any way that you would use them in particular? You can find us on Twitter at EncounterPod or Facebook.com/EncounterPod. If you want to check out some of these images, maybe there's one of the finger mittens. I'm sure we'll throw in a picture of the Reaper from Blade 2. You can find those all at encounter.pod. If you want to check out some of those back episodes that we talked about, specifically in February, or the Sea Hag from Haguary all the way back in 2020, I think, was Haguary.
Was it 19?
You can
20? Well, almost 20, I think.
Was it 19?
Oh, I don't remember.
God. At any rate, you can find all those episodes really easy just by using the search function over on our website at encounterthis.ca, where they are all ad-free and archived for your listening pleasure. If you like this and you like what we do, you can find us on Patreon at /EncounterPod. $5 a month will get you a handwritten thank you letter and access to our show notes. You can see the document that we use to produce these. And for $10 a month, you can suggest a creature. Maybe you want to suggest something like the Leviathan, this dark, ancient, elder elemental that could possibly be responsible for the Deep Scion. I don't think we'll be too thrilled about you giving us that much work, but the Leviathan is a really interesting creature.
But hey, your money's going to be worth something.
Yep, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be from D&D. Maybe there's a Pathfinder or maybe you want us to look at one of the Starborns from the Dresden Files, or we'll do any creature from any system, and we will butcher that system, but we will make a valiant effort. If you don't want to spend any money and you still want to help us out, you can rate and review us on your platform of choice, specifically Apple Podcasts and Spotify. They really do help new listeners find us. But thank you for listening. And we will see you again in 2 weeks with our next most episode.
Our next most episode?
Yeah.
That's
I stand by it.
It's really taking the winds out of our TED Talk.
Yeah. Really just phoning this one in. Sorry, all that homebrew that I gave you in the middle there got me real tired. Couldn't pull the chute hard enough.
Time to take a nap.